All right, we back. So I want to talk about this. Um, I haven't seen it. I think I saw. Well, I'll take that back. I have seen probably about 3 minutes of this. This is 16 minutes. Um, this is for It's Giving Growth. You can go subscribe to that channel. I wanted to talk about this because this was posted 4 months ago. Okay, because it is something that I've been seeing a lot of as far as stories about this. And I wanted to speak from someone who is technically a lone wolf. I consider myself more of a Sigma type male because I don't really follow alpha males. I respect them, but I don't really follow people. And I've also had situations where people usually will follow me, but I don't really have any interest of them of leading them, to say the least. So, but I wanted to speak on this because I do know that there's studies coming out that is showing that a lot of people, which is really weird and kind of intuitive, seeing that we are living in the social media era, and we have this issue. Um, well, I'm gonna talk about it just from a person that I'm from the '90s. I'm a '90s kid, so I was a loner. I started being a loner when I was in middle school, for some good reason because I was always getting in trouble. People back then we had a lot of issues where people were throwing people under the bus. It was really hard to find true ride or die friends. I actually had ride or die friends. These are people that when they got in trouble, they didn't say, "Oh, well, he did it too." No, they didn't do that. We didn't do shit like that. We got in trouble. We just got caught. We faced the music. But we're not gonna rat the other person out, especially our best friends. We don't do that shit. And even if they don't necessarily get caught, but they get suspected of getting caught, we'll still lie for them. So, but I wanted to go over this. I don't know what exactly it's about. It says lessons about friendships, loneliness, anxiety, and social media. Some of that I don't really have an issue with. Don't know nothing about. But this is actually entitled to "I Have No Friends," and I don't have friends either. I'm gonna be honest with you. Before I go into this video, I'm gonna be honest. Men and women should be married anyway. Especially if you're married, you're not gonna have friends. Now you might have childhood friends if you grew up in like New York, LA, Atlanta, Houston, all of those big cities. But if you live in a small town and you moved away, you're probably not gonna have friends. But let's get into this.
We're all loners. We're all in the same struggle bus together. We're all collectively in a friendship recession. So today I want to talk about something millions of people can relate to, and that is the "I have no friends" trend. There are a bunch of reasons why people relate to this so much. Maybe you don't have any friends. Maybe you have people you hang out with, but you don't really feel connected to them. Or you want better quality friends. Or you have social anxiety and it's hard to make a doctor's appointment by yourself, let alone approach strangers to be friends. Whatever it is, this video is for you because I'm gonna get into all of it. So first I'm gonna talk about the loneliness epidemic gripping the world right now, and then I'm gonna share my personal story. So I've lost friends, I've had no friends, I've had bad friends, and I've been the bad friend, if we're keeping it real. And I'll leave you guys with the lessons I've learned.
That's not good if you're admitting that you've been a bad friend. But I don't know what that consists of. Um, the last friends, I didn't even have friends in college. I did have people that I played basketball with, but we didn't hang out outside of that. And there was one guy, although he was in high school, I actually almost was gonna hang out with him, but I think we were gonna hang out together. But he did say he had to work. He worked on the weekends, and then on the weekdays, he would just come up and play basketball anyway. But I liked him. Me and him was cool and stuff. I hated playing against him though, because that dude would shoot threes, and he was like the Steph Curry of that time. This is 2003. Uh, uh, did I meet him? No, I met him in 2004. It was 2004 and 2005. But yeah, he was like the Steph Curry. That fool, I'm telling you right now, if you did not block his shot, that shit was going in. You cannot leave that man open. You leave that man open, he gonna hit that. He gonna drain that three. I don't know what the fuck. I block his shot, but if I didn't block his shot, if I was too far away and I jumped and I didn't hit it and I didn't block his shot, yeah, that shit was going in. Listen, he couldn't be stopped. And then when me and him would play together, see, I had a mid-range shot, but one of my big strengths was my defense. That was my strength, was the defense. Not so much my mid-range. I did develop a mid-range shot, but that was my thing. But yeah, when me and him would play together, oh shit, that game was pretty much over with. Because I with the defense I had, and most of it was blocking, not so much stealing, but sometimes stealing, but mostly blocking. I get the ball, I'm throwing it straight to him because I know he gonna hit that three. That's game over right there. But yeah, me and him, that was the only person I think we was gonna like hang out and I would have considered not necessarily a friend, but just someone that I would have definitely would have been hanging out with. Um, I also know too that he had a girlfriend too. I didn't know that until I think a year later. But yeah, the last time I had friends was back in 90. Yeah, I guess it was 96 because I had some friends back in when I was in Aberville. So
Learned through all of that, so definitely stay till the end. Also, if you're looking for a one-stop shop to better your mental health, your physical health, and your financial health, definitely hit the subscribe. People who relate to them when they say they don't have anyone close who they can talk to, turn to. In a world that's obsessively on social media to connect with people, we ironically are super isolated. In a
I agree with that. Um, Social media. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about social media. Social media was actually designed to network, not necessarily make friends, but to network. So you're supposed to already have your actual friends. Y'all get on social media, and maybe like you, maybe another friend of yours might know some other people, right? And y'all all at each other. They're friends with people that you don't may not know. You're friends with people that they don't know. And then while y'all are posting and stuff, those people start commenting and y'all so now you've got this giant network. And that's kind of how that's why it was called social networking, right? Now we've transitioned from social networking to social media, right? So um it is weird because of the fact that we do have social network. Like right now, we have the ability to talk to anyone across the globe, but yet we literally have no true friends that we can just meet up, have a beer with, kick it with after work. Now, I will say this. I will tell you, regardless of which era you come from, even if we were to go back, let's say that this was like 1980. If you're an adult, it is super hard to make friends because the only way you would make friends is by working, and you would meet friends that way. And I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of y'all out there that do have jobs, that's kind of gonna be your network is to actually meet friends through your job. That would be the key thing is meeting friends through your job and network that way. Like go up to like most jobs, if you work for a pretty big company, look at some of the stuff that they have going on and see if you can volunteer. That would be a way to meet a lot of new people and you could potentially meet new friends, you know? So just giving y'all some game out there.
A culture that obsesses over finding love, we ironically don't have friends. And that is heartbreaking because researchers have found the people who had satisfying friendships were happier, had fewer health problems, and even lived longer.
Yep.
And people with weak social ties were often linked to depression and cognitive decline as they aged. And that sucks to hear because it often feels like making friends is harder than solving physics equations, especially in adulthood. I've always heard people say if you're an adult, if you've graduated high school or college, you can probably count your close friends on one hand, if you're lucky. And if you can relate to that struggle, you're not alone in experiencing this. I'm right there with you. There have been very few times in my life where I've had a close friend. Let alone friends, plural. Just one close friend was always really hard to find and keep. I've always had acquaintances, coworkers, people who I saw and hung out with, but I never felt a deep connection. I never felt like they actually got me and I got them. The conversations were kind of shallow and not deep and nutritional and nourishing. I always felt like there was a bigger piece missing. A real, true friend. Someone who I could lean on and trust and call from jail if I needed to, and who wouldn't judge me and who I can eyes closed say they would always have my back. Not having even just one person like that in the entire world is tough. It feels really lonely. I remember a few years ago, it was around the time of my birthday, and I remember realizing that I was getting more into my 20s and I didn't have a group of people, who were my tribe. I remember crying because it felt like I was gonna go through my whole 20s and not have a close group of girlfriends. The people who would come over and pop a bottle of champagne after my promotion or show up with a box of pizza and wine after a breakup. I really wanted that. Graduating college was a huge eye-opener for me because the people who I was seeing daily moved all across the country to get jobs, and I kind of
So a couple of things. Let's speak on that. She's right. Once you leave college, everybody starts moving in different directions, which that's what they're supposed to do. So it's hard to keep up with that. And then you got to think about too that those people are getting married, having children. So that hanging out ain't gonna be like you just ain't gonna be able to do that no more, right? Nothing wrong with that. That's why if you are a person in college right now listening to this, you need to go find you a spouse. Women, if you are in college right now, you need to be right now finding your man. Go out, find your man. That friend, that guy that you got in your friend zone because you don't think that listen, as long as you're attracted to him physically, date him. I'm telling you right now, you would thank me later. Once you get out of college, the dating life is going to be pretty much non-existent. Because you got to resort to dating sites, which doesn't even have quality people. You have a lot of people that have a lot of trauma that get on there and they just do whatever because they're not doing anything productive on there, right? But it's harder to date because, like right now, if I wanted to date at my age, I'm 40 years old. So if I really want to date, I either gotta look at work, which that's nonchalant. Ain't nobody there for me because I mean I've been there for about a year and a half, close to a year and a half, and even the single people, I just they're I, they're too old for me, right? But the point that I'm trying to make is that it's hard. It's harder to find a relationship because you have to go to a bar. Now you could do social events like up here. They actually I didn't know this, but they actually have cooking classes that you could technically take. Costs a lot of money because I think one of them I saw was like $50. I'm like, God damn, just to do one cooking session for the night is $50. But yeah, it's hard, to do that. So that's why if you are going to college, get your man, get your woman, find each other. Don't wait till you get out.
have lost touch with them. Also, I realized that the girls who I hung out with the most were the girls who I partied with the most. And when I graduated and got a job, I realized that we actually had nothing in common besides drinking together on Friday nights at frat parties. And when I had social media, I actually just did a video on why I quit social media, but when I had Instagram, I would go on and see groups of girls having brunch together and groups of guys at bars. When it was someone's birthday, that person's Instagram story would have like 20 slides of people gassing them up and wishing them happy birthday. And like every other week, I would see someone getting married and having like 8 bridesmaids by their side. And I was always like, damn, where do you get these people? Like, you get that on Amazon? How do you have so many close girlfriends? Well,
I'm gonna say something. Basically, what y'all need to stop doing is going. First of all, y'all need to delete Instagram and all that, because I will tell you right now that those sites are very toxic. You all see like the good side of people, because that's all they're gonna post is the good things. All those people have all kind of issues. You'll see more of that as you start browsing through, because right now I only see this from women, but a lot of them are talking about mental health and um, self care, this and therapy. It's just so weird to me. But those people have issues, and that's why, and they utilize social media as a form of therapy, right? So a lot of y'all need to stay off of that social media site so you can actually mature and understand that just because you see people taking pictures of the Grand Canyon, going to Italy, those people, yeah, it looks good, but they have other issues that they're not exposing. So I just want y'all to understand that, right? Understand that.
I'm out here trying to get like one. It's tough to see because you feel like, where are mine? Is there something wrong with me? Like, am I not fun to be around? Also, when I had an Instagram, I had Instagram friends. Like, I would have girls who would comment under my pics, I would comment under theirs, we'd watch each other's stories. But then after I quit using social media, none of those people reached out to me. And I realized we only had an online kind of artificial relationship. Like, they didn't actually care that much about me as a person. I don't even think most of them realized I was gone. So after going through a lot of struggles and friendships, I've learned a lot. Here are some things that I've learned and that I just wish I knew. The first lesson I learned was you need to define what a friend means to you. What kind of values are you looking for? If I didn't concretely know what I wanted and what I was not accepting, anyone was being let in the door. There were people I used to hang out with who would always talk shit about others behind their backs. They were always involved in drama or gossip, people who just called me to like emotionally dump on me, but just because they were nice to me, I was okay with being friends with them. When really I should have known better and set my standards and boundaries way higher. So know what kind of friend you want and set that standard so you don't pick just anyone. And also, pro tip, I've learned this the hard way, if they're talking about others behind their backs, they're doing the same to you. Also, in
Yep.
that same line, define what type of friendships you want. Some people are looking for someone who they can call at 2 a.m. when their car breaks down. Some people just want a weekend girlfriend who they can hit the bars with. Some people want someone they can text or call every single day, while others are okay with talking to someone once every few months. I've learned not to expect all of those types of friendships from one person. I've learned to not expect regular texting from someone who just didn't have that capacity. I don't force relationships in that way, and I don't put pressure on one person to be all of the things I want in a friendship. I'm okay with having different people who are there for me in different ways and who I'm there for in different ways. There's different types of friendships, there's different tiers of friendships, so not everyone will be your best friend. The next lesson I've learned.
I agree with that. Even for me, right? Um, so growing up, when I was in school, this is from kindergarten up into second grade. I only had two friends, and they were best friends. A guy named Blake and a guy named Wayne. Those were my two best friends. Um, this is a story to tell y'all. I think this was back in 1990. Um, so Blake would have these like birthday parties that we would like. Basically, they were um, it was at the end of January, I believe, like the last week of January. sometimes even the first week, but it was like the week where January and February starts. We would have a sleepover. His birthday, I think, was in February, but we would always have a sleepover and stuff on the weekend. It was only like Friday night into Saturday, and that was it. And it would be like a lot of us from the class. It wasn't that many of us in that class. I wish I had a picture because I would like to show y'all that when I go back home. Hopefully either this year or next year, I'm gonna make sure to get some photos, take a picture of them and stuff. Cause I want y'all to. I'm actually, in fact, I want to do a video, at least a part one of what my life was like. Cause I always talk about people having dramas and traumas. I didn't have that shit, and I will prove that by showing pictures. I can show some pictures. I might do that video. Now think about it. But anyways, so I think there was like I want to say there was like 8 of us, 8 or 9 of us that would spend the night. Now he had a little brother too, and the 2 times I stayed the night had a great time. It was fun, no drama, and I remember him coming to me. This was when we was in the second grade. He came to me after that Monday when we got back. We was talking about like how much fun it was and stuff like that over his place. And he was like, "You should have one too." I'm like, "Me? Have y'all in my house? Hell no!" I like, "Hell no!" But no, I said I wouldn't have those. I told him I wouldn't have no sleepover, but because my mom probably wouldn't want to do that. Because I did tell him that like you have a mom and dad, so and his mom was really cool. Like his dad was cool. He kind of stayed. I think if I recall, he kind of stayed away. But his mom was very like she handled the household. And it's really funny because now I think about it, she was the one that she made sure the household was good. His dad, would come in and say, "Hey, maybe let them do this," and mom would be like, "Okay, well, this is what we're gonna do," and she would, pivot. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was really good. They was nice. But he was talking about me having a party. I told him no, I would probably just have like a little standard party, which I did. I went on there and asked my mom. She was like, "Yeah, yeah, you go ahead, do that." So let me tell y'all this. That was the worst thing that could have ever happened. Cause let me tell y'all something. The weekend that I was gonna have my party was gonna be a Saturday. It was gonna be Saturday at um. It was supposed to start at 11. I think we wanted to start early and then end early. So it's supposed to be like from 11 to like 2. But that particular day, it decided it was going to storm. Peace, it decided it was going to freaking storm. And it stormed for about probably a little over hour and a half, well, half an hour. And by the time it was already like 12, and I was like, well, I guess nobody's going to come because it was supposed to be a whole bunch of people coming. Even some of the girls were supposed to come. I think 1 or 2 of the girls was going to come, but nobody came. And I didn't expect them to, because again, it was freaking storming, peeps. And then, not even as we about to wrap everything up, we get a phone call from my aunt. Not my aunt, my cousin, and she was like, "Yeah, yeah, such and such is down." So my mom, I didn't know who it was. I didn't answer the phone, but my mom went out to the door. She went outside and she kind of wait. She like she was talking to someone outside or something. And sure enough, it was my friend Blake. And I was like, "Oh man, I didn't know y'all was gonna stay." And he was like, "Yeah, he always come." What was said that his mom actually made sure. This is what his mom said. His mom said, "Well, he always comes to your my son's party, so I'm gonna make sure that he comes to your party too." I was like, "That's cool." Again, I wasn't expecting him to. I'm kind of glad he did come because, peeps, this was a year that my mom bought me a Nintendo. And let me tell you the story behind that. I never had a gaming system. Didn't even know that they even existed. Didn't even know they even existed. Peeps. But Blake actually had a Nintendo, and when the two times I've been over to his house when we stayed the night, I actually now the first time I didn't play as much. I played sparingly, but there was a lot of us too the first time. The second time wasn't as many of us, but a lot of them didn't really want to play Nintendo, so I was able to play a little bit, but not a whole lot. I rather just watched. But he did. Matter of fact, the second time, like that year that I had my party, I did play a lot more. He allowed me to play a lot more. Actually, his mom, well, he said that his mom said that he was gonna make sure they was gonna make sure that I played more since I didn't really play a lot. And when my mom came and got me, she saw that I was playing, right? So the whole purpose of her getting me that is because she had heard that I was playing that, and I had played it the time before that. Um, and that's how I ended up with a Nintendo. And we didn't know how to hook it up, but Blake did. I'm trying to think. I feel like Blake had his brother too. There, I think it was me, Blake, and his brother. His brother was kind of cool too. I say that he was like a younger. He was a little too young, so he was like, I think he was like in kindergarten or something, um, and stuff. But he was kind of cool. But yeah, peeps, that's my story. So that was a true friend of mine. Like I said, we were close. It's just fortunate because after the second grade, he had to move, and then just kind of went downhill from that. So
Is don't cling to people who don't nourish you or grow you in some kind of way. I have truly learned to let people go. And not even in like an F you kind of way, but just in a graceful, loving way, honestly. I think we all understand that when it comes to romantic relationships. Like your girlfriend or boyfriend in high school might be perfect for you in that stage of your life, but as you grow and evolve, it's natural and even healthy to, meet other partners that are better suited for you, that align to the person you've grown to be. But for some reason, when it comes to friendships, we put an enormous pressure on friends to last forever. I like to think of friendships, or any relationships really, like highway exits. Your life is like a highway, and some people come onto the highway and stay for a mile or two and then take their exit. And then others come onto the highway and stay for 20 miles and take their exit. And that's okay. We're all just kind of finding our way through life, and
I like that analogy. I like that. She is right. Like sometimes some of y'all, it's great that you do have friends back in grade school and y'all still friends. But sometimes, and it's okay that sometimes you get to a state, certain you go through stages in your life where things change, right? I would tell you right now that there are some people back in my class I stopped being friends with because I had a different mentality. They wanted to go chase the cool, whereas I was trying to do other things. Just went our separate way. No harm on my back, right? A lot of my childhood friends moved, right? So that left me really with no actual friends. And then it wasn't that I couldn't make friends. It's just the fact that there was people I just didn't want to associate with because of how I moved, how I operated, didn't align with what they're doing and how they operate as well. So it's a great analogy.
not everyone is meant to stay on that road with you forever. You don't need to maintain a relationship with someone just because of history you guys have or just for the sake of maintaining it. The other thing I learned is that yes, some people you naturally outgrow, you naturally let go, but others need a little push out the door. You have a gut feeling when someone is just not good energy. I'm talking about people who are maybe jealous of you or who are reluctant to celebrate your wins or who forget to invite you to get-togethers, people who gossip, people who disrespect you, people who don't know how to apologize. I would rather be alone and have no friends than surround myself with people with that kind of energy. And cutting the cord with these people really comes from a place of being confident in who you are and knowing that you're a good friend, knowing that you deserve to have good friends, knowing that you're not so hard up to be around people that you'll surround yourself with bad company. Like romantic relationships, good friendships are worth the wait.
I will say one thing to a lot of y'all too. You all gonna have to start working on yourselves. Now, there's countless YouTube videos on how to do that, so I'm not gonna talk about it. Um, I will tell you that my generation was bad about discovering who they were and understanding who they were. It really took or take or would have taken um, someone in your family to actually educate you on stuff. Now, I got educated just by some of the elders that I would run into, like riding the city bus and stuff. They would talk about different things, and I also looked at regular TV and how they would portray certain characters. You know what? You want to know the reason why I never ran the streets? Why I didn't do drugs? You know why I didn't get involved in that lifestyles? Because I watched a couple of movies, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. Okay, I didn't want to deal with. Listen, that shout out to John Singleton, rest in peace. But when you watch those movies, that's real life. I knew that that's what was going on in real life, and just seeing how they lived and just understanding the consequences of that. That I'm like, I don't want to deal with that shit. I don't want to like, I don't. I want to be able to lay my head down at night, fall asleep, and wake up without having to deal with BS. I don't want to have to go to bed at night with a gun, not knowing if anything's going to happen, at nighttime. Nor do I want to be able to go. I want to be able to go outside, get in my car, go to where I need to get to, without my being in the back of my head that someone might be ambushing me or I gotta live on this like certain edge. I ain't got time for that. And then living your life like that, that's crazy. But that's the reason why I didn't do those sort of things, right? So, with that being said, some of y'all need to again work on yourselves and get rid of people who are not bringing value and not working towards the same goals as you. If you're a kid, if you're a guy out there right now, especially if you're in high school and you want to go to college, do your friends that you currently have right now, are they in that same mindset that they want to go to college too? If not, what the fuck are you doing? Get rid of them. Go make friends with the kids that are thinking about going to college because y'all be able to push each other. And you're going to find out that you'll probably have way more in common with those people anyway. So,
The next lesson I learned about friendships is that putting yourself out there is uncomfortable. If you don't have a lot of friends or you're not used to being around a lot of people, putting yourself out there, going up to strangers, going to parties, saying hi to people is nerve-wracking. As someone with social anxiety, trying to make friends is so daunting because I'm always like, what if I go up to someone and I fumble my words, or they think I'm weird for approaching them, or I say the wrong thing? That's where confidence comes in because I've learned that, like, hey, I'm just saying hi to someone, I'm just being nice, and if they think I'm weird for doing that, that's a reflection on who they are. That has nothing to do with me, and they'd probably think anyone was weird for doing that. But putting yourself out there, going to events, saying hi to people, that only gives you a better likelihood of finding a person you click with. And it also builds up that confidence muscle. So join your local intramural soccer league, invite your coworker out for lunch, randomly go up to someone in your gym and say hi. It's not all going to be fun, and some people may have weird reactions, but regardless of the outcome, it's still a win because you're building more confidence and you're just that much closer to meeting someone. Which brings me to the next lesson I learned, which is confidence is key. It's really not just like some cheesy love yourself bullshit. it really makes a difference in how we interact with people. Confidence, one, gives us permission to cut people out of our lives that don't treat us like what we're worth. And if you have no friends, confidence really adds this light to your personality that makes you so much more attractive to everyone you meet. When I think about the people who
Sure.
I know, who have a lot of friends, who always get invited out, who everyone loves, it's always that person who's super confident, who uplifts others, who walks in their purpose and is quirky or different, but like shines in that. They don't try to be anyone else. They don't try to blend in. When I'm not confident in a social interaction, I sometimes avoid eye contact. I'm like fumbling my words. I'm nervous. And it kind of stifles the natural flow of the conversation. People can feel that awkward energy and it can really dampen the vibes. But when I walk into a conversation and I'm not as worried about what they're thinking of me or if I say the wrong thing, the conversation just flows better. So if you go up to a stranger and say hi, being sure of yourself that no matter what happens, you're good, you're just being nice, having that confidence really comes through and really boosts people's perception of you. The next thing I wish someone told me was don't feel embarrassed to not have friends. Don't get cold-hearted from it. Because in the times of my life that I had no friends, I felt really embarrassed by that. I became really closed off because it felt scary and embarrassing to be social and be super outgoing and to still not have friends. So I purposely chose to
I will say that if you are technically consider yourself as very so now, listen, I was never really a super social. I gotta talk to everybody type of person. I never was like that as a kid. So, but if you was one of those people as a kid and even as a teenager, and even in your college years, and you don't have friends in your adult life, yeah, I could see that being an issue, especially mentally. So that now that's where you probably need therapy. But I don't see that to me. There would be other things going on too because if you're in like, for instance, if you're into sports, you could join a sports league. Like if you're in a big enough city, of course. This is why you gotta get outside of your city. If you live in a town of 20 some thousand people, you need to get the hell up out. Go to a place that has 100K people in it. That's the only way you're gonna really make friends because you can join different groups. If you like dancing, they have. I know they have dance groups and dance things. Me, I've been thinking about, which I don't want to know because I don't really want to spend the money like that. But I've been thinking about taking up dancing because I can't dance, and it would be nice to be able to learn how to dance. But you know, that's what YouTube's for too. So, anyways. Uh,
just say I'm an introvert and I like being alone, and that's why I didn't have friends. And look, there's nothing wrong with being by yourself, but I convinced myself that I didn't need or want friends because that felt easier than exclaiming that I actually did want friends and I just couldn't find any. And getting super closed off, that ended up being a self-fulfilling prophecy because I just stayed home and didn't talk to anyone, and then that made me literally less likely to meet people, and then that just reinforced that I can't make friends anyway, so why try? And that was a cycle that didn't help anything. So it's super easy to get closed off when you feel like you're putting yourself out there and it's not working.
Peeps, I would say that if you, like I said, if you're like myself, that's more introverted, you probably like being alone anyway, which is not a big deal. Don't be trying to think that I need to have friends because society is telling me to. No, you can actually join certain groups and just have acquaintances. That's group. That's fine, right? Now, like again, if you're the opposite, where you have to have be social, like being social, you don't have friends, you're gonna have, and you're doing what she's saying. You're gonna have to seek some therapy, because that means that there's something else going on that's preventing you from getting out there and joining different things and doing different stuff.
But try to be patient and not be bitter about it and just trust that your tribe will come. Another thing about friendships.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it here because I think we've heard enough. Um, I don't really have a take for this. Let me see what this is first. Oh. I can't do that. Anyways, so my take from this is basically this. Everything I just basically said, where social media has kind of gotten us into a situation where we sh- we're not making friends based upon what we're doing in life. We're getting on social media. We're just adding thousands of people for whatever reason. I guess for self validation. That's one thing I can think of. And we're not putting value into getting out there, doing what we love to do, and then meeting people the artificial way. So, for instance, if I'm like playing basketball and I go to the gym and start playing basketball, as I'm shooting around, 9 times out of 10, you'll be able to start doing pickup games. And you can join pickup games and then play enough of those to where you can start generating friends that way. Because it'll just come natural. So again, if you like to dance, join a dance a group. Like, matter of fact, see if there's any dance classes. Learn different types of dances. That way you can be integrated and you'll meet friends that way, right? So we need to go back to the old way of how you used to make friends was basically you do what you like to do and then those people kind of you get involved with those people and y'all just kind of uh sometimes you hit it off, sometimes you don't. It's not a big deal, but we got to go back to the old way of doing things. And that's the reason why you're seeing what's happening today in the world. Everything that's happening today is not working. And all you gotta do is go back into time and see, oh, well, back then they used to do it like this and it worked. But we're not doing that. We want to do things differently. So, I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments at your current age, do you find it hard to make friends? Right now, my current situation, I could care less about having friends because I have a lot of things going on that keeps me occupied and busy, and that's the least. And to be honest with you, I would probably be a bad friend because I want to be able to do what I want to do without having to stop and cater to somebody. So, but let me know what y'all think thought process are, and I would be curious to know those that are still in high school, middle school, high school, college. Do you have friends? And if not, why don't you? Right? Anyways, I am out of here. Y'all take care. Peace.